Tens of thousands of students are flooding central Delhi, pushing against 10-layer steel barricades and navigating a total internet blackout to make their voices heard. This is Jantar Mantar. It sits a few hundred meters from the nation's political center, and it recently became the site of a 36-day standoff that the government could not ignore. After weeks of sustained pressure, the students secured a result that seemed impossible. Education Minister Dharmender Pradhan officially resigned. Over the last 12 years, even massive movements like the farmer protests or national anti-corruption drives failed to force a cabinet minister out of office. This resignation represents a sudden break in a decade-long streak of ministerial stability during civil unrest. A newly formed youth faction calling themselves the Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP, led this successful charge. They took their name from a perceived insult. When an official allegedly compared young online critics to cockroaches infesting the system, the students adopted the term as a symbol of their resilience and numbers. Their growth was explosive. In a single week, their Instagram following climbed from 0 to 22 million. This chart shows that while traditional political machinery stayed flat, the CJP used organic social media trends to build a massive constituency without a centralized budget. The government initially dismissed the movement as a collection of kids watching reels, blinded by the assumption that digital metrics could never translate into a physical threat to their power. The transition to the streets was driven by the NEET medical exam scandal. A massive paper leak compromised the test, putting the careers of millions of students at risk. The human cost was devastating. A wave of student suicides followed the leak, turning online frustration into a physical occupation, fueled by grief and a demand for accountability. They established their camp just 400 meters from the Indian Parliament, effectively placing the crisis directly on the doorstep of the nation's lawmakers. For over 35 days, thousands of students lived on the sidewalk. They endured severe heat waves and heavy monsoon rains without waterproof cover, proving they had the physical stamina to match their digital presence. By surviving these brutal conditions, the CJP demonstrated a level of real-world discipline that the political establishment had never expected from a digital-first movement. The state responded with a familiar strategy, using media narratives to frame the students as foreign-funded agitators or part of a religious conflict. When the rhetoric failed to clear the area, the police moved in with tear gas and lathi charges, using batons to strike the peaceful crowd. The movement countered by building strategic legitimacy. Climate activist Sonam Hanchuk joined the protest, undertaking a 26-day hunger strike that gained national attention. The turning point came when the CJP issued a strict 48-hour ultimatum. It triggered a midnight social media address from the Prime Minister, and shortly after, the Education Minister's resignation. Surviving both narrative warfare and physical escalation ended a 12-year period where protests from farmers or major political parties failed to secure a cabinet resignation. Even with a historic victory in hand, the students are refusing to leave. The camp at Jantar Mantar remains fully occupied. Two major demands remain. They are calling for 1 crore rupees in compensation for the families of suicide victims and the immediate cancellation of all police charges filed against student protesters. They also insist on a public apology from the Delhi police and the Rapid Action Force for the violence used against the crowd during the occupation. The movement's message to the political establishment is clear. The Education Minister's resignation is only the first wicket in a much larger collapse. The Cockroach Janta Party has demonstrated that a nonpartisan youth coalition can force specific state concessions, creating a new set of rules for political engagement ahead of the next major election.